Canon's original cinema camera, the C300, changed the game for so many shooters back in 2012. Today I'm getting my grubby little paws on a C300 for the very first time to see if it still holds up in the modern day, and I'm gonna talk to my ex-boss about his experience shooting a Netflix documentary with this camera back in the day. You may have heard of him. Is it cool if I call you Matty D? It feels weird.
You can just call me Matthew like we talked about.
Matthew's all right, but how about just Matt?
Yeah, okay, Matt works.
This video is sponsored by Found, a business banking app for freelancers and entrepreneurs, and I'll explain my new intro at the end of this video. While making videos on this channel, I've noticed that 2012 was a monumental year for video production cameras for whatever reason, but this camera we're talking about today is truly a stamp in time for our industry.
This is the C300 from Canon. It's their latest entry into the digital cinematography world.
This is Canon's first Super 35 large sensor video, completely video camera.
We already know the 5D Mark II and the original 7D were super popular with video shooters, so Canon was analyzing that and thinking ahead about who might use the C300, and they gave us some options.
Hi, this is Peter. Today I want to introduce is the Canon C300. They have two versions, the EF mount and also the PL mount.
Before I upgraded to the C300, I was using the Canon 5D Mark II. Yes, the OG, like one of the first DSLR cameras that shot amazing video. This was at the time when I was transitioning from doing wedding videos and bar mitzvahs to more higher end client work. And so I was ready to make that investment. And that's when I sprung for the C300.
This is Matt Diavella. You probably know him as a YouTube minimalist and cinematic video extraordinaire, but his filmmaking story goes a lot deeper. He started out like most of us, filming events with whatever camera he could get his hands on, but he worked so hard that he eventually shredded every last ounce of body fat, and eventually scored an opportunity to shoot a little documentary you may have heard of from Netflix. Understandably, Matt wanted a professional video production camera for this documentary shoot, so what would the C300 offer him that a smaller DSLR wouldn't at that time?
Upscaling, no more awful H.264 compression. This is a true 1080p image.
For me, a very important function of this camera is it has built-in NDs, very good quality NDs.
It comes with the pistol grip, the monitor array here.
Industry standard video and audio recording functions.
Canon log or C-log.
Now we get a super sharp image instead of the fuzzy or over-sharpened picture from the typical DSLR.
Just like any camera release, there were a ton of announcement videos from the showroom floors, but once buyers got the camera into their hands, some strange test videos made their way to YouTube.
With the advent of HDSLRs, shooting with an open f-stop has become extremely common. And up until now, you couldn't tell that the man you were waiting for is a bearded freak show.
I mean, that wasn't bad. It was just showing the low-light performance and the depth of field.
Hey, that's not supposed to be in there.
Hello?
All right, show the woman. All right, so these shots of this beautiful woman were done at 48...
Okay, well, this camera is still awesome, but how much is it gonna cost?
Dude, this camera was so expensive when I first bought it. It was $14,000.
And actually, when the camera first came out, it was
over $20,000.
What did he say?
This is crazy, but in the very final month, the very last payment that I made, I paid off this $14,000 camera. Canon announced that they were doing a price reduction on the C300. It went from $14,000, which is what I paid for it, to $9,000.
So Matt got his hands on a brand new C300 and spent the next few years of his life working on his very first feature-length documentary, Minimalism.
As a producer, director, my role was pretty vast. I filmed most of the content. I did research, edited the film.
Dude, we had no budget whatsoever. We all did this as a passion project.
I asked him if he ran into any weird issues with the C300 while filming this feature doc.
I think if I ran into any problems, it was because the quality of the C300 was so much better than my B and C cameras. And so I think I had challenges when editing where I'm like, how do I take this high value production camera like the C300 and make it work with these other cameras?
These two other cameras were the 5D Mark II and the GoPro Hero 3 Plus. I'm so sorry to date you, Matt. Not like that. Well, do you want to go on it? Never mind. move on.
In the end, I ended up just trying to use the C300 as much as possible, and then just using my B and C cameras to cover up mistakes.
Revision after revision, 12-hour day after 12-hour day, Matt finally finished his film. And at first, the minimalism team ran this film through a bunch of festivals and didn't see much success. Then they put the film on public platforms, which eventually led to them landing a spot on Netflix, which changed Matt's life, and oddly enough, changed mine too. I've never told this story before, but I actually watched the minimalism documentary while high out of my mind on painkillers after getting my wisdom teeth pulled. And the film genuinely inspired me to live my life with less things. And in the process of watching it, I became a huge fan of Matt's work. I followed him for years on YouTube and somehow, by the grace of God, ended up becoming one of his video editors for his channel a couple years ago. Now I'm doing my own thing on YouTube, but Matt is a friend, which is just insane to say. Man, all this emotion is just making me wish I could get my hands on a C300 to test it in the modern day. I should probably just cut to a different scene and see if I figured it out. Oh, I figured it out. I got this C300 kit from my friend David Altizer, who I'm about to meet up with so he can show me the ropes.
So I really love this style of shooting. It's really comfortable. They even ergonomically designed it to be really comfortable in your hand here, to pull focus, hold it, grip it, stick your arms out.
My goal is to get some test footage and see if this camera can actually still hold up 12 years after its release.
This camera does not have any type of digital stave or internal stave. It was, man, this was 2012 is when this thing came out.
It's insane.
This was it. This is your stave right here.
Yep.
Dave stave.
Dave stave, baby.
After that quick lesson, I'm feeling fully prepped to fire off some creamy frames. So after I've tested it, I have some thoughts, but I want to ask Matt if he thinks this camera still holds up. But first, are you a friggin' idiot with money? Maybe. Why? I used to be too, until I tried Found.
Wait, what? I'm lost.
Just get Found, Kenneth.
Well, what is it?
Found is an all-in-one business banking app and financial platform that will help you run your business better.
Can you break it down and make it more simpler?
With Found, you can see your profit and loss, automatically track expenses, send high-quality invoices to your clients, and the best part is you can auto-magically have Found set aside money for you for taxes so that when tax season comes around, you don't screw yourself over because you forgot to save.
I usually neglect expenses because tracking everything just overwhelms me.
Don't be afraid, okay? With Found, you can set yourself up for success. Their free version offers most of the core features anyway, and aesthetically, their whole platform is just clean and easy to navigate, so it's not overwhelming when you're managing your money.
I think it's finally time for me to make a change. Where do I sign up?
I'm glad you asked. Click the top link in the description to check out Found today. What do you have to lose? It's free, and I genuinely recommend this to you guys because it will make your business better. So you might as well just click it, check it out, and you supporting our sponsors directly supports me and videos like this. Thank you.
One problem that people would have today using the C300, at least if you're hoping to produce something that's going to make its way onto Netflix or one of these bigger streaming platforms, is the fact that it doesn't shoot in 4K. And so this was not a big problem at the time. I shot minimalism entirely in 1080p, but for the everyday creator or even the freelance filmmaker, I think the C300 is still an incredible camera. What I'll say is that the footage still holds up to this day. And I know this because I still use a lot of the footage that I shot in minimalism as B-roll today in many of my videos and in a lot of my content. If I need footage of somebody walking down the street in New York City or footage from Black Friday or people shopping in a store, I shot hours and hours of that content for minimalism. Nobody can tell, I can't even tell that the stuff was shot on 1080p.
He's not wrong. I've edited a ton of this footage into Matt's videos a couple years ago, and I never even knew the footage was 1080. I actually never knew it was even shot on the C300 until this project. It still looks amazing, and even though the footage is only 50 megabits per second, Canon maximized the C300's capabilities by putting a 4K sensor into the camera that downsamples all of that quality into a pristine HD image. And I think this is one of the main reasons the camera definitely still holds up to this day. And that's not even mentioning how the C300 is a complete video production workhorse package with its internal NDs, top handle, monitor, battery life, dual card slots, and more. The biggest disadvantage is the lack of autofocus, but other than that, this thing is still freaking awesome.
I really think what you're doing when it comes to promoting used camera gear is so important because there are so many amazing cameras out there that people can get value from. And I think sometimes we get distracted by the shiny new feature. People could start their channels with a camera from like 6, 7, 8 years ago, 10 years ago, and make amazing videos. But if you're bootstrapped and you don't have a big budget, go with a used camera. And I think the work you're doing on your channel to help promote that is so needed. So thank you for everything you're doing.
Maddie D, Matthew, Matt, thank you so much for joining us on this episode of Rerun, where we revisit old gems to see how they impacted creative culture and whether or not they still hold up today. The goal is to hopefully either save you some cash or at the very least, entertain you along the way. That right there was basically my mission statement for this show, Rerun, which was formerly titled Retro Review. I decided to rebrand this show moving forward because not every piece of technology we cover is retro, and I want to be able to expand the show into hopefully more than just cameras. So drop a comment below and let me know what older camera or older piece of technology you'd like me to revisit, or what guest you'd like to have me try to get on the show. Last thing is I want to encourage you guys to go check out Matt's documentary, Minimalism, and his entire behind the scenes series. It's 6 episodes called Making Minimalism. All of it is available for free on YouTube. Links in the description. Love you, Matt. Thank you so much for being in this video. It's really cool to see you on my channel. It's weird, we actually started talking about this years ago, and I get a comment from none other than Matt freaking D'Avella. In the video, I even announced a website called getmattonzachschannel.com. He ended up seeing it right away because you guys were tweeting at him. He commented on the video right away. Cool comment, pretty good one.
Keep it moving, Mayfield! I want to see some sweat! Think of Matt's comment.
You impressed me today. You did good. Thanks. Now go do that video.
And now we finally have a little collaboration, so appreciate you, man. Text me when you guys get home so I know you're safe. I've been sitting here waiting for your message and it hasn't come through yet, so do that. Watch out for deer. They're handsome but pretty terrifying, and you are loved more than you may know. All right, I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.